At Catching Fire, chapters 12 through 17 tonight. My name is Elena. I'm from the HungerGamesMovies.net. And we also have some other lovely ladies here, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Becca from the HungerGamesMovies.net.
I'm Nikki from the HungerGamesMovies.net.
Oh, I guess that's me. I'm Amy. I'm from HGGirlOnFire.com.
Yeah, here we go. So we are breaking down chapters 12 through 17, like I said, and our first question is, why do you think the Capitol devises a special reaping procedure for every 25th game? Amy, do you want to start?
Sure, let me just get some notes. So for that question, I think the Capitol devises a special reaping procedure for every 25th games to shake things up, to make sure that the districts aren't getting too comfortable, because once doing something and going through something for so long, then it's easy to get comfortable, to get cocky about it, and I think that the Capitol is just making sure every 25 years to make sure that they understand that there's always something new ahead, that they can never get one step ahead of the Capitol. The Capitol is always one step ahead of them.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that their main objective is to remind the citizens that they still are in control, that they are the ultimate authority, and that it doesn't matter how comfortable you think you are, the Capitol rules all, and they just use that as a reminder to shake things up a little bit and make everybody a little bit uncomfortable and scare the crap out of them. And in this particular case, I think things got a little bit weird just under the circumstances, but I think we'll touch on the reaping a little bit later. What do you guys think?
Well, Nikki, do you want to jump in? I have a thought.
I have a thought too. I think that they just pulled this baloney of like, we're going to switch up the games rules just because we want to bring in like the most interesting people. Do you really think it's like it was official? Did I miss that part?
Me too! Why are it the same people? I was just going to say, did I miss something? I thought that they just did that to
make... They did it too, to get the people
because
that they
were mad at Katniss and Peeta.
Yeah.
I didn't think that happened 25 years ago.
It did with Haymitch. They sent in on Haymitch's quarter quell. They sent in. Remember, the card was pulled that they sent in twice the amount of the kids.
Are we supposed to believe that's true? I mean,
what is it? Are we supposed to believe that it's just this random act, or is that what you're saying? Like
that's what I thought. I thought they were trying to make it seem like it wasn't random, but it really was.
Yeah. I mean,
well, actually, that's really a good question, because that leads us on to question number 2, which is, do you believe the requirements for the quarter quell were decided in the past? And I think that's not just this quarter quell with Katniss and Peeta and so forth, but also back like with Haymitch's games, because as you know, Haymitch was the victor of the 50th quarter quell. So the question is, were these quarter quell changes done in the past, or were they done right then and there? And I think we are all in agreement that this was obviously like a completely orchestrated envelope drawing that President Snow announced and sent repeat victors back to the arena.
Okay, maybe I'm clarifying what I said in the first. I'm not as dumb as I made myself seem. I was thinking you were saying that every 25 years they do what they did in this one. They sent the previous victors in. But you're not saying that. You're saying that they've always had a quarter quell. Okay, because when you said Haymitch won, I'm thinking Haymitch didn't win against a bunch of other victors. I do remember it that much. Okay, so yes, that was a very good transition to this question. I think they totally made up these rules. They wanted to, because yeah, that's never happened before. That totally threw everybody off guard, including me. I cried when I read that. I was so devastated when I found out that was going to happen.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I thought you guys were saying the same thing. No, like totally.
We're just dumb. Yeah. We had a different copy of the book than you guys did.
You guys have this copy. I have this copy.
Yeah, my copy looks like that. What is yours? It's a different color.
This is Suzanne Collins, right? Anyone?
Are we reading the right book?
Are you sure it's not Susan Collins?
Yes. Oh.
Shouldn't have got the swap meet. I need the official Scholastic branded one.
To piggyback off what you said, Rebecca, I think that, and you too, Elena, I think we're all, like, we're definitely on the same page that this is, like, something's not normal. Like, this was not just, like, a card that was pulled out. It was like, oh, it just so happens that Katniss Everdeen is going back to the game. It's not like that at all. But the funny thing is I have a theory that I totally think that, I think Plutarch was behind putting this idea in President Snow's head. I think Plutarch was the one who was like, this is the perfect way to do it. Like, this is the only way to make sure that she's going to die. And President Snow's like, you're right. Because the whole time, he has an agenda. Both of them have their own agendas. But I kind of have this, like, sense that Plutarch was the mastermind behind being like, this is the card that you need to pull.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Why do you think the Capitol pushes plans for the wedding of Katniss and Peeta if they know that they will be returning to the games in the quarter quell? Do one of you want to take that one?
Ratings. We're going to watch. This is totally, it's Big Brother meets Survivor meets the Hunger Games. They want the big, sad kiss-off.
Meets The Bachelor.
Exactly. The Bachelor. They
The
want
Bachelor.
the most dramatic quarter quell ever. And they're going to do it by putting in everyone's favorite, Katniss and Peeta. It's totally 100% a ratings draw.
Yeah, I agree. And
Not that they want ratings, they just want power over people. So
yeah, they know that was a story that people loved, because who wouldn't love that story? And they were going to feed into that and feed into the drama of the fight for life with these two lovers, and only one of them's going to survive, and it makes it that much worse that they're married and then that she's pregnant. They announced that, right? I'm sorry, I did not just read this book, so right? That they announced that she's pregnant, right?
Yeah, that was all Peeta's doing. That was not pre-orchestrated by anyone except for Peeta, and I believe he announced that during his interview with Caesar, which also would not have happened yet. So spoiler alert. Sorry, guys. That was something that comes up with Peeta later on. But I definitely agree. Like, if we're going to dig into this further, I think that it's definitely like a ratings thing, and also because the Capitol and the games rely on like the rich Capitol citizens for sponsors and so forth and so forth. So I think it's definitely like a marketing perspective, but also because I think that President Snow has to maintain innocence here, that this is not him trying to put Katniss to death as a punishment for her act of rebellion in the first games. He has to play it off, he has to kill her. He wants to kill her, but he has to make it look like it was not like a murder. She's too beloved by the people at this point to just off her. So he has to put on the show, just like he does, the entire time. He puts on a show with her when he's in public and in front of the cameras. He has to pretend that they have this banter going on and things like that.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I agree.
Ditto.
Sweet.
Ditto.
Okay. So, what do you believe the Capitol hopes to gain by sending previous victors back to the games?
The most dramatic quarter quell ever.
Clearly, Nikki should be a host of the games or something,
right? Harrison and not.
Well, I think there's the there's little murmurs of uprising, and I think these people are the victors. They're celebrated as these celebrities and these people who have, achieved this amazing feat. So then sending them back in to their death, I mean, it's kind of brilliant in a very terrible, horrific serial killer kind of way.
It shows that like no one is safe. Like even these victors, these most beloved people in the capital or in the country, and they're totally going to send them back to well, most of them will die. So what about some lowly person in another district? You better keep yourself in line, essentially.
I think that also, yeah, too, and Katniss kind of, I think, explains that too in one of the chapters that we are going over right now, where she says that she feels like it's a way for them to really eradicate hope. Like it's like, you know, the victors, the strongest out of all of them, like they had hope to win the games and then live in riches and never have to go back to the games ever again because you're not supposed to be put in for life. That's a rule and that's final. After you win the games, you never have to go back in the pot. And then the capital just rips that from like right under their feet. These people that are strong enough to beat the capital's games. It turns out the capital's like, well, guess you're not strong enough. You're going back to hunger, game. Trying to do back to California didn't work out.
I liked it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. That's exactly what I was thinking. I think kind of like what I said back on one of the earlier questions, it's just their way of making sure everyone knows their place and who's in charge. Okay, moving on. So number 5, how does seeing Haymitch's Hunger Games, the second quarter quell, affect Katniss's understanding of Haymitch and the Mockingjay symbol?
Whew, it's a tough one.
That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question, actually, and it makes me have a question of my own because it has been a while since I've read Catching Fire, and I don't remember. So if we go back to Haymitch's quarter quell, and we remember that Maisie Donner was the other tribute from District 12, which we also are told was friends with Katniss's mother, and is also the sister to Madge's mother, which is where in the books the Mockingjay pin originates. So I don't remember if it was mentioned. I don't remember if this was mentioned, but did Maisie bring the Mockingjay pin to the arena, or did I just make that up in my mind or wish that that was a thing?
Do you think that was planned, like originally not planned by Suzanne Collins, I'm sure it was, but planned like by the Capitol and all these masterminds? I feel like their whole life is. So I feel like that's such a big coincidence that it seems too big of a coincidence maybe. I don't know.
It does. It does.
For what to be planned?
Just all these
The whole relationship.
Oh.
I don't know. We need Suzanne.
Probably, yeah. Susan.
We need Suzanne Collins.
Susan, she wrote my book.
Susan wrote yours and Suzanne wrote mine.
Someone call Suzanne Collins.
I should have my Mockingjay pin out.
Oh. Well, I don't know if we answered your question, Elena. How does Haymitch's Hunger Games affect her understanding of Haymitch? Well, I think she like understands him and why he is the way he is, why he's an alcoholic, or a little bit more, at least.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely think all of us feel a certain amount of sympathy after listening or reading Haymitch's backstory there. I love getting that backstory about Haymitch, but I also remember that she talks about his interview with Caesar, and they mention that he has a real quick conversation with Caesar and gets asked some questions, and he's still his usual smart aleck self. So it's almost just like he's just been the same person the entire time. He hasn't done any changing. So that was kind of interesting to see as well.
I think that Katniss also realizes at that moment how much alike they really are, and because she knows this already because they clash. But then the whole thing where he uses the arena and the games against the Capitol, which is exactly what she and Peeta did. It's kind of like I think she sees him in a whole new light and understands that
um, he gets it, and now she gets it, and so she says she's starting to she figures out who he is, and she starts to figure out who she is because of it. So I think she just realizes how much they are alike, and how he was kind of like almost at the beginning of where the Mockingjay was born in that moment, and when, being that Maisley was the owner of the pin, and that was kind of his partner in crime, much like Peeta is to her. So,
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so I guess we're wrapping this up. Are there any questions about these chapters that we talked about that weren't answered by the time you finished reading the book?
Yes, why is there not more Gale in chapters 12 to 17?
You need some
Gale? Yes! Oh, how coincidence that he's sitting on your lap.
Wait, how come you have that? You're not even Team Gale.
How about some Finnick?
Oh, hello, Finnick.
I have that one.
But what I really want is Peeta.
Sorry, just confessing, I love Gale.
There should be more Gale in the entire series, you guys. I feel so sad about, what happens in the next book with Gale, but whatever. Still love you.
Team Peeta! Life.
There's got to be one. I mean, everyone needs a man cake decorator.
I totally was like, when I first read the books, I remember being so gung-ho about Peeta, and I definitely feel like my fondness for him grew in this book in Catching Fire, but because in Hunger Games, I felt like he was kind of like dead weight. Do you know what I mean? Like
Peeta?
And after feeling like she just was kind of just dragging him around and carrying him the whole time in the Hunger Games, and for her to come back and actually, I definitely can understand why you would feel like a connection to him after going through something that traumatic, such a major experience, that you would feel connected to him. Obviously they've experienced something together that she and Gale haven't, but she and Gale have these years and years and years of breaking the law and going into the woods together and helping each other's families survive, and then all of a sudden she did this thing with Peeta, and I totally just when I reread these books, I couldn't remember why I was so gung-ho about Peeta the first time around, because I really, really liked Gale my second reading.
Share with us, why are you such a Peeta fan?
I think that the reason that I just really became a Peeta fan was probably because the whole idea that Peeta is her rock, his name meaning rock, I just feel like everyone was so instrumental in Katniss's life to get her to reach the point that she reached in Mockingjay, and I think without Peeta being kind of that stability, because she's all over the place. All the time, every day, she's being pulled a million places at once. But the one place that she could always go, where she was never pulled anywhere, but was able to just stand still, was always with Peeta. And the thing is, I'm never against Gale at all. I'm never against him. I just think that Gale allowed the situations in the games to change him in ways that Peeta did not. And so because of the changes that Gale went through, him and Katniss, I just feel like could not be on the same level, because she's in one place and she sees it in one way and he sees it in another way, and he becomes harsh and hardened, I just feel like. And I'm not saying that if he hadn't, that Katniss and him, they may have gone further in their relationship, but I just think that if anything, it was Gale who really prevented it, because everything became more important than Katniss. When Peeta, nothing was ever more important than her, and she needed someone like that, because no one ever had her interests out. No one ever looked out for Katniss. Peeta's the only one.
It is a good opinion. I think it's wrong, but it's a good one.
Touche. Touche.
Just kidding, Amy.
I'm gonna cry. Gonna go cry with PETA. Need my bread.
I do like that about him. I love that. I love a man who loves his carbs. So, do I have any serious questions about chapters 12 to 17? I don't think so.
Anybody?
Sorry.
Anyone? No?
I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head. I thought I had maybe one question, but turns out I don't.
Anything you needed to know, you probably read in one of those 5 copies of Entertainment Weekly you have sitting next to you.
Right? I no longer have to wonder. This is like the Hunger Games encyclopedia right here. What do we need to know?
Who needs to read the book when you've got
Also, I kind of feel like it would be weird. Wouldn't it be weird to have like a ton of questions in the middle of the book, like at the end maybe, but in the middle, not so much. I don't feel like there's anything at this point that's not, you know, that you can't assume an answer to. So I feel like we did a really fantastic job of covering these chapters. If there's any further questions that anybody has, I'm sure you can leave them in the discussion threads on the Goodreads page, and someone out there will answer them.
Someone will know.
And that is a wrap. So we are from thehungergamesmovies.net, and Amy is from
hggirlonfire.com.
And we had so much fun talking about chapters 12 to 17 with you guys. Thanks for joining us. And
you have to tell them the difference. You can't buy guys, do not buy the books by Suzanne. I'm sorry. Only buy the books by Suzanne Collins. Don't do what Nikki did. You don't want to be Nikki.
We don't want to get the ones by Suzanne Collins. We get very confused.
Go to
imposter.
a reputable bookseller, you guys. A reputable local bookstore.
Yes.
Not the SWAT meeting.
Walmart.
Scholastic.
Oh my goodness. This was fun. Let's do it again next time, guys.
Okay. See you next week for chapter 18. And Gail.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.